Gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you John JJ Jumbi and Lonan Kathalemi.
Thank you.
What's up, yo?
What's up? Tuko fiti.
Mko salama?
Tuko poa.
Mko fiti.
Kabisa.
It's great to have you in Nation FM and Morning Fix this morning.
Asante sana for having us.
Thank you.
Mmenyeshewa leo? Ama mvua ilikuwa imeisha by the time you're checking in?
Kidogo tu.
Kidogo.
Kumenyesha.
Because you know, when we're stuck in this hexagon,
Yeah.
for other people, maybe it's a four-squared room.
Yeah.
Mine has very many walls in
Yes.
this studio.
Yes.
We rarely know a lot of the stuff that's happening outside,
Yeah.
you know, and we rely on some of y'all to come in and give us the lay of the land, you know. But welcome to 96.3 Nation FM. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your story. And that's how I'm asking people to introduce themselves today, because we're talking about storytelling.
Yeah.
What's your story? Where does your story start and how does it continue? JJ, let's start off with you.
Sasa, thank you very much. So, my story is about storytelling. So, I'm JJ. I'm a trained engineer.
Wow.
Wacha tuanzie hapo hivyo.
Ish, okay.
I always like starting with that because it throws people off. Like, ati, what? Engineer? Okay. Yeah. So I'm a trained engineer. But somewhere along the line, got the bug for storytelling.
Wow.
Okay. Iliingia ndani through my campus days. I think, now that I think about it in hindsight, by the time I think I hit maybe second, third year, I knew this is the path.
Wow.
Storytelling is the path. And here I am.
Wow. So now your engineering stories.
My engineering stories?
Yes. No. Now you are
Oh,
actually.
I'm engineering. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, yes, I am engineering stories.
Yep. So I love that even your background
Yes.
still comes into play in terms of what you're doing, as much as it's not the full-on thing, but you're engineering a lot of creativity and a lot of stories.
It does.
I love
It does,
that.
yeah.
Lorna, what's your story?
Well, I was a rebel.
Rebel.
I am a rebel.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I don't really know my story because I've been, on the opposition kila saa mimi ni wa maandamano kila saa. So I'm literally just trying to figure it out. But I'm an actor, Lona Limi, that's my brand. And I'm also a storyteller. Yeah.
Wow. So he discovered the bug. Did you discover the bug, and at what point did you discover that bug? Are you one of those people who, when you were young, you watched TV and you're like, that's me, that's what I want to do? Are you one of those who probably discovered it a little bit later?
I was very young, but I actually thought I was going to be a presenter or
Wow.
a news anchor. And then it was a journey where I went through a lot of transitions from dance to writing music and poetry. And then one day I just got on a stage and that was it.
That was it.
I found my home.
Wow.
Yeah,
So it was love at first stage.
exactly.
I love
I
it.
like your punchlines.
No, man, I'm really I get that a lot when I'm around great company. I'm gonna tell you that. Sometimes it's difficult to have some of these puns when a conversation is so technical. You can't be making a pun when somebody's telling you about how to create a pipette. You're like, "Sasa itatoka wapi?" And stuff like that. But an interesting thing is that for John, you're a scriptwriter and director for Chatterbox.
Yes.
And Lorna, you're an actor. So tell us a little bit about Chatterbox.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Chatterbox is a film and theater production company. We've been working, of course, based in Nairobi for about 8 years. We've staged several plays at KNT. We've done short films. We've done a web series. And so now we're getting into the space of feature film making. It's almost like a coming of age moment for us because we've been doing all this work. And when it comes to filmmaking, making a feature film is the grown-up thing to do. And that's where we are.
That's adulting.
That's adulting now. Tumefika, tumebalehe.
So what's the main difference for somebody who's listening in right now?
Yeah.
And then they just enjoy everything.
Yeah.
What's the biggest difference from that to now adulting when it comes to that?
Well, I think, first of all, the scale of the project, you've been doing your material for a niche audience, but now you're going mass market. I mean, filmmaking is mass market business. It's you're targeting a wider spectrum of people. So you're looking at storytelling now for a bigger audience, and that is it's growing up. It's finding your voice in a bigger world, in a bigger space, which is challenging, but at the same time, it's exhilarating. You feel like, okay, watch out, pig job.
I like that, and like you're saying, it's storytelling, but it's on a different scope. Scope is a little bit wider. It's mass market as well. Lorna, when we're talking about the differences that come with all these dynamics, how do you get yourself into that space mentally, where you're like, you know what, there's this project, there's this job, it's this scope. And then now, for example, you can work on another project that is humongous. Because again, it's acting. We won't see the tension. We won't see the, oh my God, I'm going on stage. We won't see all those things. How do you snap out of that and say, you know what? It's time for my game face to be on. How do you get into that as an actor?
To be honest, sometimes it shows.
Okay.
Sometimes it can show. People will see, oh my God, this is... But what you do is you try to relax, and you notice that you realize that this is what you're here to do. It's your love, right? So apart from the fact that it's work and it's people going to watch what you're doing, it's something that you really, really enjoy doing and something you love. So yeah, you find yourself just at peace.
So do you still have stage fright at sometimes?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah?
All the time.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where people, what you see is not always what you get in terms of the stage fright. But I heard from someone when I started my career that if you're not nervous, then probably there's an area of that thing that you're doing that you've not yet really come into. Does it resonate with you even as a director, JJ? You know, or is it just one of those things you're like, ha ha ha, today I'm in the lab and I'm writing, ha ha ha. Like, or is it those ones of, oh my gosh, will they like this? Will they appreciate this? As somebody who is spectacular in your field, do you still find yourself needing external validation as well? Or is that just the creative's curse and everybody will have to deal with it?
Well, number one, I think for me, without the butterflies, I don't think I'm doing it right. Without the tension, without the whole feeling, I'm not doing it right. Because I think it's part of the process. I think it's just part of the it's part of the craft, right? Getting to that point where you realize, okay, now we have all these people who need to hear what you're saying, who need to feel it, you need to carry people from one emotion to the next. I mean, that has to give you some kind of tension. Right? I think I don't even think it's a creative's curse. I think it's a creative's blessing. Because remember, anything that you do in front of an audience, entertainment, whatever, it's supposed to make them feel something different from where they came in. That's why people go for shows. That's why people watch films. Before film and after film, there has to be a shift. Okay, you need to make people feel something. And to do that, you know, it has to take a little something out of you as a creator, as an artist, as an actor, as a writer. And that thing that it takes out of you, for me, is what completes the circle. It's the moment of magic where you as a creator meet your audience.
Wow, that's profound. That really is profound. When we talk about either acting or writing or directing, everything has its processes. I beg your pardon. And when we're talking about the mastering the art of storytelling, it's imperative that we also understand processes. So for someone who's listening in right now, they're like, okay, storytelling, you're an actor, you're a writer and a director. How does the process look like? Do you just get a paper one day and you're like, today, Lorna is a villain in a story called Nation FM something. And just start scribbling, you know, like, how do you start your process when it comes to storytelling?
Okay. So it's a very long process. So for me, I start with observation, okay? Because what I do like doing is write stories that have that relate with real life as much as possible.
Uh-huh.
So I start with observation and look at what is happening. Like, for example, yesterday was Mandamano Day.
Yeah.
I observe that. I figure out, okay, so what happened? What was the start of Mandamano? What was the end? Where are we heading to with this Mandamano? So after that, take a note. Okay, digital. Take a laptop.
I know, right? Aha.
Yeah. Start bullet points, okay?
Yeah.
Figuring out, okay, what do I need from this story? A, B, C. This happens, then this happens, then this happens.
Yeah.
Because life happens in chronology.
Yeah.
Everything happens because of something else. So it's one thing after another after another. Then after that, figure out now the beautiful pieces about this story. How do these things affect people's lives? Okay. What would say a normal person, a mamamboga or a soldier or a businessman? How would these things in Mandamano affect them? So develop a story from their perspective.
Okay.
Remember, your story is always about people, what they go through, what they feel. It's not about the thing that is happening. It's about how the thing affects them.
Yeah.
Right? So find out that turnaround, find out that twist, and that's where you tell your story from.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like this. As somebody who acted very, very briefly on stage, and I always used to struggle with getting lines and everything. It's
Everybody does.
yo, bro. Let me tell you, man. Like, and then for me, I like improv.
Yeah.
So the times when
Wow.
yeah.
We respect improv, guys. You guys rule the world.
Like I really like improv.
Okay.
And I remember there's a time when people had forgotten their lines, and I had to just do some improv, to just kind of allow everything to to get to a place where now the next lines that I remembered they can pick up from there.
Right.
And the whole process of acting and bringing all those things together, it is such a complex process that is made to look so simple.
Yeah.
And within it, there's characters
Yeah.
that sometimes are so big and so out of this world. And
Yeah.
for others, it's a small character,
Yeah.
but meaningful all together. And Lorna, just thinking, maybe I can pose this question to you and pick your brain a little bit. Have you ever played a character that you look at and you're like, if I could change who I am, I'd like to be this character?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Uh-huh.
But the thing about acting or actors is, even as the person who's crossing the frame, you have one word. You will think that you're the main character in the film. You have to believe that you're the main character, or else you're not going to do a very good show.
Yeah.
So, however small your part is, you have to be, that person at that moment. So I don't think really there's a small role or a big part, or it's just, yeah. And the interesting thing, the reason why I was even asking you about the question before we take a short break, about if you've ever played a character where you're like, this person, I'd love to be this person, is because sometimes when we act and when we take up characters or personalities and we indulge ourselves in their stories, sometimes we reflect back on our own stories, and you're like, wow, this reminds me of that, or that reminds me of this. And sometimes we look at ourselves and you're like, I wish somebody could write a story about me and somebody play it. So you can imagine there's somebody seated somewhere who's going to be acting as somebody else and wishing that one day, maybe for you, as the years progress, a play's done about you, a movie's done about you, and just thinking about that it's surreal for me. Right. Thinking about that, because it's part and parcel of the creative process of storytelling. You're sitting here, and somebody might actually do a story that captures JJ and Lorna in Nation FM and make it into a film or part of a film. Fascinating. We're going to be coming back in just a bit, taking a short break, listening to some Dennis Lloyd with Anxious, and getting to know a little bit more about the intricacies of story.